welcome back to the channel again. Brendan here, aka Cliff Jumper. Once again, we are turning our attention to the 124 Sport Spider, the modern version of it. And instead of a fun modification we're actually doing an annoying repair right now. So you might have seen this on yours. It's been raining, and whoa, hey, there's water collecting inside the taillight very conveniently. So that's not good. And of course, you can see the condensation all the way around in here. And what that means too is the LED element in here is not working. So the first thing we need to do is remove this tail light so that we can address this and go from there. So to get the tail light out, there's a few steps. First of all, I've started it. This panel has to come out. Fiat uses these wonderfully annoying little clips. You need to stick your thumbnail underneath the edge of it, release it like so, just that much, and then the whole thing pops out. But you will find these all over the car. And there's a couple of them, one here, in order to be able to remove this. There's another one back behind it to be able to pull this section out, and that will get you access behind the panels to the two bolts, or I should say two nuts that hold the taillight in place. So a nut here and a nut there. You also need to undo the electrical connector, which is hiding all the way back here. I've already undone the connector. It's just a squeeze type. Squeeze the top together and it pops out. This should stay in place on the panel, and then around the edge of this grommet, you can push the grommet through the metal panel, and that will allow that to release. So we're going to get these two bolts right there, and then the whole thing should come out, and there's the one screw right on the top as well. So a total of 3 screws for sure. Now right here, I mistakenly attempted to remove the color swatch in the middle of the taillight, and I totally broke it in the process. So I have to buy a new one for my son. You do not need to remove this panel in order to remove the taillight, and I found that out the hard way. Don't do it. All right. There we go. And yeah, there's a lot of water. There's a lot of water in that. And see how it's coming out right there. So we know that's where the seal has failed. I'm gonna run it around the other edges. And you can see the water's not coming out anywhere else. So we know exactly where we need to reseal it. That's where the water was getting in. I do see some corrosion in here on the circuit board, so that's not great. We may be in for buying a new taillight, unfortunately. There's all sorts of corrosion in here. Very not good. We'll do what we can. Oh yeah, that's really pretty bad. All right, well, lots of water damage in here, unfortunately. On the printed circuit board, you can definitely see corrosion from water damage. We will we'll put some contact cleaner in here, spray it out, dry it out. I'll see how much of the moisture we can get out of this thing before we reseal it, but given the condition of the circuit board, we might be in for a new taillight. So we'll see here. I just removed the turn signal, and there's actually water inside the bulb of the turn signal. This one's not an LED light, it's just a standard incandescent, but that's how bad the water was in this car from that leak in the seal. The water has actually filled up the light bulb, so yeah, good times. So follow up on this. I removed this completely. I already showed you the PCB board. I sprayed the inside PCB with a lot of contact cleaner, and I actually put in some silica gel pouches inside the taillight, in addition to using compressed air to blow out as much moisture as possible. Now on the back side of the light, there's a whole bunch of little Phillips head screws that help hold the back housing to the front. They do allow airflow, so I've left them out in an effort for some natural evaporation to take place, because there's still a few little droplets of water and we want them to be gone. So between the silica packets and the airflow, we're going to give it about 2 days of just being on here, being out in the wild where it's not raining, and hopefully the sun will help evaporate the moisture in there as well. And then we'll see if we have life from the LEDs. If we don't, then we're in for a whole new taillight assembly. If we do, then I'll replace that panel for my son, and we'll go from there, and we'll reseal this where it seems to be leaking. So I'm going to sign off for now. We'll get back to you in a couple days and let you know how it turns out. Following up on the Fiat brake light assembly repair, where we left off, we had taken it apart, blown out as much water from it as we possibly could. I put some silica gel packets inside it after I sprayed down the printed circuit board with various cleaners to try to get rid of the corrosion on there and the connectors. And we replaced the turn signal bulb that was completely filled with water, so that was really funny. So where we are at now with it, so the bottom half of the tail light has come back to life. The top half has not. This is how it is supposed to look. There's supposed to be a top line working in addition to the bottom. Over here, none of this was working when we first did the repair. Just one LED over here in the corner. But now we have the whole line actually illuminating. So I'm hoping that maybe as this continues to dry out, we might get some life back in the top one. And we do have a functional turn signal as well. Obviously that was replaced, so it's good. So anyway, we're gonna call that a success. That was a win. One more follow-up with the Fiat taillight scenario. You may recall earlier in the video, I totally broke this thing, which is the color plate that goes in the middle of the taillight. And I want to just give a word of warning to those of you who might be doing work on the taillight. First of all, you don't have to take this thing off to remove the taillight. I found that out the hard way. Second of all, this stupid little piece costs $180. So be careful with it. Don't break it. You don't need to remove it pretty much for any reason. So leave it alone. Theoretically, it comes off really easily, but I found that what theoretically is really easy isn't real life, because this gets exposed to the sun, it goes through heat cycles, and it does absolutely get brittle like any plastic exposed to the sun and heat cycles, which is why it came apart instead of coming off nicely when I tried to remove it earlier. So we got a brand new one. It does have an orientation sticker on it, so you know without any doubt how it goes on, and it's just a simple press fit. So put it in place and there we go. The taillight is healed, other than whatever's going on in the upper light section here. If that is one bulb or a bunch of LEDs, I'm not sure. I think it's probably a bunch of LEDs, but since we now no longer have just one working LED, we've got the whole string across the bottom here, and it is legally working with both brake light and parking light working, so we're good. But I'll spend some more time taking it apart and seeing if we can figure out what's going on with the upper bank here, and we can get restored function to the whole thing. You can see, as I saw earlier, there is still some condensation in there. I have the silica packet inside. Hopefully that will help. And we did reseal it. Hopefully that will help. Yeah, that's a thing. So not a 100% effective repair, but still functional. We at least got the brake light and the running lights working back there in addition to the turn signal. We just don't have the top portion of the light working yet. So maybe with a little bit more cleaning of the circuit board, maybe that will come back to us. I may have to take apart the assembly and actually get in there with a brush and some better cleaning tools to see if we can coax life back into it. Of course, it's also possible that the LEDs in that row they're just done because of the water ingress to the taillight assembly. But good enough for now. My son is happy. It's working. It's legal. He can drive it, so that's great. I hope this helped you out. Maybe if you were having the same problem. By the way, I'm going to say that we also did take some silicone, some RTV, and ran it along the seam where we saw the water was able to leak out of it. That tells me that's where water could leak into it as well. So we went ahead and sealed it with some RTV. I really do need to disassemble the whole thing, reseal it, and address all those issues, but we'll come back to it another time. For now, it's good enough, and we really don't want to spend $700 for a complete replacement used taillight. That's what they're going for right now. So if we can breathe life back into this one, we're going to keep trying that. Unfortunately, I think that we're probably going to have to end up replacing this taillight if it is the printed circuit board that has just gone completely wonky with those LEDs. Such is the case, but we're going to see if we can continue on. At the very minimum, though, it is legal to drive. We've got running light and we have brake light, so it's safe, it's legal. We just don't have the top little thing working. So anyway, we'll catch up with you again next time and let you know what happens if it ever comes back to life. Bye, see ya. Like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff.
And on that terrible disappointment, it's time to say goodbye. We'll be back.